Good evening, everyone. We are gathered here today to witness the most hyped tournament in all of League of Legends. Welcome, everyone, to the Mid-Season Invitational. Now that I think about it, I think the Mid-Season Invitational was a really bad idea by Riot, and I think they should burn that thing to the ground, and I'd say the Mid-Season Trophy would not be bad. First of all, why are you inviting teams to the tournament? I mean, we were this close to saying having Mad Lions being invited to the tournament by their own merit, but they just qualified, so that doesn't make sense. And why are you naming your most important tournament of the year Worlds? You shouldn't just call it the League of Legends World Championship and be done with it? Oh my god. I mean, NBA and NHL have more creative names than you guys. But I digress. Welcome to the tier list, everyone. And as you learned from the LEC, my tier list has been absolutely flamed, burned to the ground, crisped, stumped down, and pretty much being buried under the mesosphere. Jesus, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, that doesn't sound right as well. But so let's just set the breakdown to you. We have our 5 lovely lists. We are ranking from S tier, which is the big old super tier, the team that can probably win the whole thing, to our D tier, the team is not as crap, but let's just say not good enough to actually win. These are my opinions. These are what I think. And if people do not like them, well, suck a big egg on you guys. Now, there's another channel that's dedicated to this tier list. I will link the description below when compare his tier list to mine. And of course, I'll be uploading to Twitter for the absolute laughter and the flames that I'm going to get. So, without further ado, let us begin. But first, I'm going to tell you about the MSI format. This format is pretty much as simple as a pie. Two groups of 4 playing in a double elimination bracket. Winner gets to the big bracket stage that's coming up, and then the 2 second place teams from the bracket will play a best of 5 rank match to determine the 3 teams that will make it to the bracket stage. And then the bracket stage will be one old big double elimination, best of 5, all the way to the championship. It's pretty much simple, it's easy, it's lots of matches, and it's fun. I like this tournament even more. I mean, this is probably the best MSI tournament we have in pretty much ever, which is actually saying something. So, yeah, with all the rules, with all the things that's going on, and now let's just start with our teams. This is DFM from Japan. This is BLG, the number 2 seeded team from the LPL. Cloud9, the 2-time LCS champions and 1 seed in the NA. G2, 2 seed in the LEC. Gam Esports, winner of the VCS. Genji, winners of LCK. Golden Guardians, 2nd place team in the LCS. JEG, top team in the LPL. Loud, top team in CBLOL. Mad, top team in EMA. Rainbow 7, top team in LLA. PSG Talon, top team in PCS. And T1, 2nd place team in LCK. And I am going to start with DFM being C tier. Now, let's just talk about this team for a minute. This team has a new top laner, no longer Evie anymore. Sorry. And they have Toltu as their new top laner. So you have Toltu, Steel, Ari, Harp, and their most important prize asset, Utapon, who is playing his 10th year with the team. In fact, to put this in perspective, he and Faker are the most decorated players from the same organization ever. Those 2 players alone. We know Faker did it with T1, but pretty much like nobody expected like Utapon to be in the same team. This team is loud, like absolutely loud, really loud. But their playstyle is pretty much, I like them. I like some of their playstyle. I was watching a few LGL matches, of course, but I wasn't even getting around. So my knowledge of minor region teams are kind of like skewed, to be honest. But DFM beat Sengoku Greymon under the Reaper. I mean, Reaper and 3-0 sweeps in finals, name a more iconic duo. And I kind of like this team. But are they good enough to be like in the upper echelons of the MSI? Probably not. So I think C tier is probably the safer tier here. It's not as high, it's not as low, but it's kind of safe there. BLG. Let's see. I put BLG kind of a... Let's go B tier. Let's go B tier for now. I will change it up afterwards if my mind is not good. But BLG have been their defending champion from their RNG days last year. They got Jun, Yugao, Elk, and On. They were finishing second to JDG in the LPL split. So I can say this with confidence and certainty, they are not a bad team. Now, do I believe that BLG are going to be good enough to win? Absolutely, but we all know how LPL teams are right now. Like, even the top team in LPL could probably be knocked out in the MSI. So maybe BLG are good enough to even win. So, do I put them as S tier? Maybe, maybe not. You know what? I think BLG could be an A tier. I believe BLG could be an A tier as well. The names on their list is great. Top lane is absolutely good. And Yagao is an amazing mid laner as well. So the way he plays is incredible. So I think BLG could be an A tier team. I think, you know, their strengths is incredible. Their weakness is like minimal, but not as sustained enough to like trouble other teams. So I have BLG probably at the A tier. Like, again, my League of Legends knowledge is not as great. I don't know, I know much, but not as big. So just let me have it. And plus, there were a lot of LPL games, so LPL didn't come in the blur. But I look at I think that BLG are looking good, and I think they could be good enough to win. Okay, Cloud9. B tier. Yeah, I know North America. Just hear me out. I feel like right now, consider the way the LCS are right now, that Cloud9 are probably the only, let's just say, sustainable team left in international, that can nominate in international tournaments. I don't see Golden Guardians doing anything well. I will hold them up later. I don't see Evil Geniuses coming back. I don't even see 100 Thieves coming back. So I feel like right now, all the North American energy is going into Cloud9 with Fudge, Blabber, MNS, Berserker, and Sven. This team is good. Fudge was incredible during the entire run to Cloud9. I think he should have won MVP. Berserker is amazing as well, especially in a meta that was incredibly bot lane centric. Blabber is the fact that they hold on Blabber for that long after so many years and all the chopping and changing and all the stuff is incredible. He's a good jungler as well. Sven can hold his own, and of course MNS is kind of the wild card player in this because he just came here replacing Diplex and he become an incredible. No, I'm not saying incredible, but a pretty good mid laner as well. So, I think, you know, if we go into the patch 13.8 notes that we can see here. Okay, there it is. If we look at this beautiful patch 13.8 notes here, so Aerial Soul, Jarvan, came out fight and Rakan getting nerfed a little bit. Maybe not as big of a nerf, but big. You got Israel, Garen, Janna, Kha'Zix, Kog'Maw, Leona, Lilia, Nili, and Poppy. And Israel's getting a little buff, so but we have seen Karzi plays this better, and he's getting a lot buff. Like, he's from 60 to 62 base damage. That is a lot, you know. So, we haven't seen like Berserker testing this champion yet, but I would be damned if he wouldn't done that. So, beyond that, he's a good Zeri player, he's a good Aphelios player. I don't know if he's a good Aphelios player, but he's a really good AD carry. And I think there will be the most really good performing team. I think the flip side about it is that Fudge is probably going to get dumpstered in by some of the best top laners. You know, your Bins, your 369s of the world, your Dorans, of course. So my ceiling is like, they're good to beat the minor region teams, especially in the bracket stage, of course, as they are in. So let's remember, I'm ranking the bracket stage teams and the playing teams. But I feel like, you know, are Cloud9 good enough to beat like the BLGs and the JGs of the world? I don't think so. That's pretty much like, you know, that's my thing, you know. I think they'll be fine, but I don't think they'll overcome BLG or JG or T1 to that matter. Which leads us to our next team. A tier. I put G2 in A tier. Yes, I know. They did not perform well in the LEC playoffs. I mean, that's credit to Mad Lions and the Niski domination in the mid lane. But the fact that, you know, G2's strategy of trying to dominate early game and feed it to Yike and make him incredible is like, it's a perfect strategy. But if it falls apart, Yike is going to become... Yike, just remember that Yike is a rookie. He's only playing his second split ever. He only played like 18 plus games in the 2 seasons they have. So he has not been like, let's say, the Yankos, who has just dominated jungle and dominated everybody. He's not there yet, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. I think you would take that, G2. You would take that in any way of the form. I think the reason why you put them A tier is probably because of Caps. And let me just talk about Caps. Take away his winter finals performance in 2 months ago. What has he done? What has he done lately? He hasn't done nothing. He barely done anything, and he got gapped by Niski, who was playing Gragas 5 times on the dot in that series. The coaching staff should be ashamed of themselves. Hansama is okay. So does Mickey X. I think Hansama is a good player, but he hasn't had much champion diversity to make me feel like he's good enough. Broken Blade is a huge problem. Broken Blade is a really huge problem in the top lane. I mean, don't get me wrong. Chasey performed absolutely well. But Broken Blade is a huge problem in the lineup. So if I have 2 problems for G2, I said Yike is a rookie. Caps has not been great, although he's rank 1 in EUW. So stop please telling him that he's washed. You absolute pricks. And Broken Blade, it's a big liability right now. But based on what G2 are doing right now, I think they are good enough to do well in the playing stage. And anything but getting out of the playing stage will be an absolute failure for this org. An absolute failure. Like, forget about not winning the LEC. Not making play-ins with the likes of Loud, PSG Talon, and DFM will be an absolute failure on their parts. It'll be an absolute failure on their parts. But beyond that, I think G2 might get screwed by JDG, Gen G, or maybe even T1. So I'm going to put them in A tier. They're good enough to even, like, compete with the rest, but I just don't see them, you know, competing against the likes of the Gen Gs and the JDGs of the world. That's just my opinion, of course. They're good enough, but unless Cass can pop off, unless Broken Blade can pop off, unless Hansama goes insane here, then I just don't see this team perform well beyond the playing stage. That's just my opinion. Oh, Gigabyte Marines. I put C tier. C tier Gigabyte Marines. In fact, I think as good as DFM are, I think I'll just put in D tier for now. For now, anyways. Do not offend me, Japan or anything unless I put DFM for now. I saw like one comment from the video just saying why you put, you know, a Vietnam team below like a Japanese team or something. Remember, this is his opinion, his tier list, his opinion. So what? Levi's still there. They got new players on their squad. I'm gonna go through there. Okay. They got Kaya, Levi, Kati, Stahl, and Zen. I heard that this team has like 30 kills between 100 plus kills between each other. That's dangerous. And you know how Vietnam are. They are we're gonna kill you more times. We're gonna be in your face. We're gonna be aggressive. We don't care about situations. Come hell or high water, we are going to win. And that's how good Gigabyte Marines have been for the last few years. This is their first MSI appearance in 6 years. So I was just maybe it's just like they are not good at MSI, but consider their world performance, especially against top esports, bug-wise, I get it, but still, they are an aggressive team. And the numbers showcase that. The way they dominate the VCS has showcased that, especially I watched like game number 4 of their victory over SB Esports. I think this dominant, kill-heavy team with a veteran leader like Levi is going to take Vietnam to the top. Now, I don't think they'll beat I don't think they'll beat the Cloud9s or the G2s or BLGs of the world, but I believe that GAM is probably a team that you have to be afraid of, especially Golden Guardians. That's right, I said it. GAM is probably the most frightening team in MSI. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say it right now. Gen G. My first S tier team. Gen G has Doran, who was Doran, Peanut, Chovy, Pez, and Delight. So, if you look at the LCK performance, the LCK entire performance, everybody was talking about T1, dominate the season, dominate the, well, I'm not saying dominate the playoffs, but was absolutely really good in the playoffs to make me feel like T1's going to run away with this league. And what I saw from, like, I don't know, a game and a half in the LCK finals, I didn't get to watch all of it, but man, Gen G were really good in that LCK tournament. They counteracted all of KT plans, and they made Faker, I mean, Chovy made Faker an absolute liability throughout this series. I mean, if I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I never thought the word of Faker and Caps being having two of the worst performances in any League of Legends pro game I ever seen. These are two of the most veteran players ever, and they have two stinkers. That and Bjergsen, of course. But now since Bjergsen gone, I think we can simply analyze these two. But take nothing away from score and Gen G. Like, literally, just Gen G team looks absolutely good. You got Duran, who is popping off the top lane. You can give him Gragas or Chase or anything, and he can be popping off. You got Peanut, who is an absolute liar, who is absolutely decent. He was not bad. Chovy was pretty much a dominant lane, making Faker look obsolete, and I think he's a really good mid laner. The Light is a great support, but I need to talk about Pez. I need to talk about Pez. Now there'll be some stats. I'm gonna go to the stats right now and talk about him. So I'm gonna be more statistic. I'm just gonna give me, okay, there he is. So there he is. So let me talk about our boy Pez, who won his first LCK title in his first split ever. Probably the many people who won their first LCK title in the split. He went 40 and 19, almost 68% kill rate, 5.8 KDA, with a 10 CS goal lead. Now you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, it's a Zeri one trick. He got 78% 6. He played Barrios, he played Aphelios, he played Xayah, he has the Draven unlock, he got the Jhin a little bit, Sivir, and Caitlyn. But then again, some of them are from, like, you know, his challenger days. So take that with a grain of salt. But I will say this, that Pez was amazing. He was the LCK Spring Split Player of the Year. He earned his flowers. I'm just saying this right now. Pez is probably the player you need to watch. And that means that we might have got the Pez and versus his former Gen G player, JDG, facing each other in the bracket stage. Maybe once, maybe twice, but I will love to see that matchup happen. I will love to see that matchup. If that matchup does not happen in the opening game of the group of the bracket stage, I will be a little bit mad, because the luckiest thing about it is we might have to see them in the lower bracket stage, maybe the finals. So take that as well. In fact, I'll put JDG right up there, because as you said, former Gen G player Ruler is in this team. Knight is great. Kanavi is good. Missing is okay. 369 in the top lane. Oh my god, he is amazing. I mean, he was absolutely amazing throughout last year, and he's been consistently good in this year, to make me feel like JDG could win MSI. In fact, I can say this right now. I have these two teams winning MSI. These two right here. In fact, I would have Gen G and JDG go 5 games in an MSI finals, and nobody will be surprised about it. Nobody's surprised. The way JDG played all this season, they've been quietly the best LPL team all season, when everybody talk about how good Top Esports is, and EDG, and all those other good teams. Even OMG, who was surprising everybody else by playing so wacky, but also incredible at the same time. But JDG has been quietly becoming the most consistent team in all of the LPL, and I would not be shocked if JDG could be your first MSI champion. Probably win their first MSI ever. And man, Ruler has been a beast. His clutch performances have been incredible. His mechanics have been insane, especially with Zeri and with Aphelios. He can do that all. And since the patch notes does not touch much of the AD carries as much, that will benefit like Ruler and Mistin in the bot lane. I feel like right now, based on my AD carries, my top 3 AD carries from all the teams are going to be Ruler, Pez, and then Gumayusi. And then Berserker 4th. Those, and then Madela, and then Karzi my 5th. So if I rank my 5 bracket stage teams based on AD carries, I go Ruler, Pez, Gumayusi, Berserker, and Karzi. Those are my top 5. Just saying. Do I see weaknesses in JDG? Kind of. Maybe it's their, you know, their mid jungle synergy. You know, maybe it's gonna, like, you know, Knight makes a horrible mistake and it costs the team. But I don't see that happening, and I think Gen G also has weaknesses as well. Chovy might, like, got burned like he did in Worlds at the DRX. He just, like, yeah, he was awful, but it's not like he was awful. His whole team was awful. So now he got a good team. He's got a decently good team, a good ball laner, a really decent top laner. I think Chovy could be fine. So I don't think they have both teams of too many weaknesses. So I put them on top because I feel like they're the most strongest team to ever win the tournament. Golden Guardians, I'm sorry, but you're crap. You got there, congratulations, you make it. And if FlyQuest would have crapped them up in Game 4 of that LCS series, we would have a different story. I would have put Golden Guardians maybe up there with Cloud9. But nope, you're bottom. You're absolutely bottom. And let's see. You got an old player in Hui. You got Stixay, Gory, River, and Licorice. The team itself is not bad. What they did in the LCS run up to the finals is incredible for the organization template and for the players themselves. I mean, you talk about Stixay and Hui and Licorice, who have not been as dominant in their plays for the last several years and haven't been like top dogs in their region for that long. And for the organization itself, this is the organization's first international tournament ever. Like, we see Cloud9, we see Team Liquid. Golden Guardians is kind of like, huh? Who the hell are you? And that it kind of makes me feel happy, but also feel sad at the same time, because Golden Guardians are gonna have a rough time. Golden Guardians are gonna have an absolute rough time. Now I'm gonna pull up the bracket stage for the mid-season invitational. So their first game will be against GAM. Okay, yeah, they're gonna get absolutely get fisted by probably a Vietnam team. And even if you do survive Vietnam in a best of 3 season, you might get to face BLG, who by all accounts are a good organization, a really good team, mind you. So based on that, I put them down low because I think, yes, while their performances in the LCS finals have been great, it just kind of feels like some teams, I feel like, you know, 100Ds were never good, EG were sick, and FlyQuest kind of like crapping themselves when they were having a huge lead and it couldn't close it out. So, yes, Golden Guardians, you deserve this, you get your flowers, congratulations, but I feel like this is where their journey will end, okay? This feels like the end of a journey for them. And I feel sad because right now we see so many LCS teams shifting, selling all their spots, releasing some of the players, you know, cutting all the costs and everybody else. That the fact that Golden Guards actually made it there is kind of like the summation of North America as a whole, you know? It makes you want to feel like it's either Cloud9 winning the whole thing or no team ever. That's just based on my opinion. So yeah, Golden Guardians with DFM. In fact, let me just put them here. Yeah, you stay in the D tier. Yep, D tier all by yourself. Loud. Loud are good. In fact, let me just get through the main teams first. So T1 are an A tier. Yes, I'm gonna get flamed. I'm going to get flamed by many other people, and I will, and yes, I deserve it. But I feel like, yes, T1 are a good team. T1 are a very good team. But to happen once in a finals, that's sad. To happen again, to happen 3 times, oh, but to now happen 4 times over. Do I really trust this team to be good enough to win? Absolutely. But consider the last 4 finals performances, and every finals performance has been really questionable since. I will get, now, they lost to Gen G, but Gen G was a really good team back then. They lost to RNG with this famous Jin Yumi comp. I mean, Jin Yumi, Jesus. That was awful. And then they lost to DRX. Like, look at DRX now. They don't even have a coach. This team doesn't even have a coach, for God's sakes. And now they lost to Gen G when everybody, even the Jump Cell Arena, have T1 probably winning the whole thing. And they got absolutely beaten by Gen G. Now, give Gen G their dues and all those kind of stuff. But now you're hoping to feel like, you know, this team, I just don't trust this team to win MSI. They're good enough. They got Zeus, Owner, Faker, Gumiyoshi, Carrier. They're good enough. But the last 4 finals and the way they're performing in these finals make me feel like I just don't know if they can do it correct. Because the thing is that, look at this T1. T1 could have been the best team in the world had they won all those finals. Had they won all those finals, they would have won the Grand Slam. They would have dominated another LCK season. And many people would talk about T1 as one of the best teams in the world, with Faker having become the second coming of Jesus. Nope. Everybody would now talk about how T1 chokes in big finals and makes you want to question the T1 mentality going into those finals. Don't get me wrong. I put them in A tier because they're good enough to compete with the other big teams and probably win. But based on their performances in these finals and based on and I put Gumiyoshi as the 3rd best AD carry for a reason because he hasn't shown up in big game situations. So with that being said, I'm feeling like T1 are going to be good, but maybe not good enough to beat the Gen Gs and the JDGs of the world. Maybe I'll be wrong, but it is what it is. Okay, PSG Talon. You're good. You're good, but you're not. Okay, so Azir, Junja, Uniboy, Waco, and Woody. They're fine. They're a fine team. They dominate the PCS as usual. They're not PSG when they just have high expectations and they fail. You know, that kind of thing. They're fine. They're a fine team. They're really, really fine. Are they good enough to win, though? Maybe not. But I would say, based on the order of the C tier teams, I would put PSG right behind DFM. GAM is going to be good. DFM is going to be a good second team because we know the history of this team. The Uniboy and Junja, former jungler of an LPL team, I think. So you got that experience. So you got that experience going. So I'm thinking that maybe PSG can shock the world and beat, you know, a Definition Focus Me or something. Maybe it might happen. So yeah, I believe that PSG could be a scary team. Just like GAM, just like Golden DFM, I think they could be a scary team going forward. Loud. I can't look. They're not a D tier team. They're not even a C tier team. I think I should put them in. Yeah, I should put them in C. Not C tier teams. Robo, Croc, Tinons, Root, and Seals. I mean, they're good. They're decent. They're fine. But I still haven't watched a lot of CBLOL. And yet CBLOL is the 4th best watchable region ever, which is saying something. But I'm saying this like, Tinons is good. We know him. He's a good veteran and everybody else. Root is also decent. I heard about him. Robo is also good. And the fact they managed to win two CBLOL titles and still becoming one of the best Valorant teams ever is an incredible achievement for them, organizationally wise. So, yeah. I feel like Loud could do this and be good enough, but I just don't have a good feeling. In fact, I think they are in the same tier as the other 3 teams, but just not good enough to like, be in there. Just not good enough to like get in there and be good enough. If they beat G2, maybe they'll prove me wrong. They already beat Fnatic, so maybe they beat G2, maybe they'll prove me wrong. But C tier is where they go. Also C tier is Rainbow 7. So Bong, Odie, Meru, CEO, Leon. I mean, look at Bong's face. Look at Bong's face and, okay, there's no photo, but if you can imagine Bong's face, tell me you look at Bong's face and don't laugh. Just please don't laugh, please. It's a good guy. On did okay. LLA, again, not my region of expertise, but they did well and I finally get Extral. They're good, they're decent, but I don't see them anything. I don't have nothing to say much about them other than that they're right there in the mix of C tier teams. And I think this bracket is, and I think this MSI bracket is really, really good for some of the mid-tier teams, of course, the C tier teams, because it will give an opportunity to show the strengths of the adaptation of some of these teams. And I think we will find out which minor region teams could adapt more against the major region teams, or even each other. That's going to be the question. But for now, I think Rainbow Seven should be up there in the tier. And finally, Mad Lions B tier. Yes, B tier. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, congratulations, Mad Lions. You prove everybody wrong and beat every single team with Chasey, Aloya, Niski, Karzi, Hillisang. You proved me wrong, okay? My BDS shirt is already in flames and full of lions, okay? You broke my heart. It hurts, but I have to live with it. I have to move on and live with it. I feel like, you know, Mad Lions proved me wrong, but it almost feels like they should have been good enough to win. Let's remember, they should have lost to Heretics. Well, maybe they should have lost to Heretics in the final game of group stage. They should have lost to Fnatic in that crazy Fiesta game. Should have been knocked out. And they should have knocked out G2 after their coach would have been better and realized that Gragas is OP and should have banned them 5 times, goddammit. So that's pretty much like, it's not luck sometimes. And also you beat a Vitality team that underperformed and a BDS team that were good, but with some limitations, of course. So, Mad Lions, you were good enough to win. They were not great, but they were good enough to win. But I feel like they made too many mistakes. They like caught in some of the team fights they have. And it makes me want to feel like they're good enough to win some of the games, but it's just common mistakes that will really hurt you. And you can get away with it in the LEC, but you can't get away with it against the Gen Gs, the JDGs, and even the T1s in the world. You know? Those kind of teams. So, I feel like Mad Lions are good enough because now they have like a week off or two, to practice with a new patch, the 13.8 by the way. This whole thing will be 13.8, to practice on the new patch. Maybe Karzi might try out this Israel new because he was really good at Israel. And he got a buff, so that's huge for him. And I think maybe, like 2021, Mad Lions will prove me wrong and actually shock the world and win MSI. That's pretty much how it goes. But to say that Mad Lions are good enough to win, that's going to be an understatement. So I have Mad Lions here as B tier. And that should do it. Those are the tier lists. So I have D tier Golden Guardians, C tier GAM, PSG, Talon, DFM, Loud, and Rainbow 7, B tier Cloud9, Mad Lions, A tier BLG, G2, and T1, and S tier Gen G and JDG. The madness will start on May 2nd with G2 Loud, and then PSG DFM, and then BLG Rainbow 7, Golden Guardians GAM every single for the next couple of weeks. Those are the two teams that will start the play-ins. And then we'll go best of 3s, double elimination, and then, you know, c'est la vie. And that should do it. I will send this to Twitter, I will send this to my Discord and see what these people think, and if they are roasting me, that's fine. I'd be okay with it. And anyways, if you like this, please subscribe, like, and comment on this video so I can get 20 subscribers. We already have 12, so 20 will be absolutely good enough. Anyways, have a good evening, everybody. And I will catch you on the flip side.